Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome one, welcome all to SimSpeed TV. This beautiful Friday night, you see cars emerging from the pit lane to begin qualifying here at Twin Ring Motegi for round 10 of the V8SCOPS Support Series for 2025. Mobility Resort Motegi is the name it goes by now, and it is a classic iRacing Supercars track. We are running the full layout for this particular round, so it'll be interesting to see how the drivers tackle it in our 2014 and 2019 Supercars. Bringing it to you live here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Kick. It's me, Reese Gardner. Brandon Stuck is alongside me in the commentary box, and Jay Kennedy is behind the scenes producing, pressing all the buttons, bringing you these lovely live pictures. Brandon, you were just saying before we went live, you were always curious about how Motegi would work out as a Supercars track. Well, you're about to find out.
Yeah, certainly am. I've absolutely loved this track. Haven't seen it since Gran Turismo 4. Like, that's my only memory of this location. But you can see there's some great passing opportunities all around the circuit, great long straights. I'm interested to see how the drivers tackle this one. Given it's a permanent circuit, I'm guessing the 2019 cars might be a bit strong here. But let's wait till race time to see how that one plays out.
For sure. Built in the mid to late 1990s by Honda, originally built as a sort of showcase venue where people could drive and ride their Honda motorcycles and such. Motegi ended up evolving into one of the premier motorsport venues in Japan. The Oval has played host to NASCAR and IndyCar in the past. Unfortunately, due to the 2011 earthquakes in Japan, the earth has subsided, and so the Oval cannot be used for racing anymore, which is a real shame, but it has been preserved indefinitely in iRacing, so you will be able to use the Motegi Oval for your oval racing needs. We are here, of course, at the full layout of the road course, 14 corners, and in particular, looking forward to seeing how they tackle the final chicane of turns 13 and 14. It's critical to getting a good exit onto the start-finish straight. There's plenty of overtaking opportunities around this circuit. As many hairpins as you want to shake a stick at, and we should see some great battles around here. So, format for tonight, as the drivers are in the midst of their 15 minutes of qualifying, we have a 32-lap race on the cards for this one. 2 compulsory pit stops will have to be taken between laps 2 and 31, with the fuel tanks restricted once again. The 2019 cars have 75% of their total fuel capacity they can use, and the 2014 cars have 90%. So pitting for fuel and tires at one or both stops is going to need to be required over the course of this one. Motegi is a nice smooth venue, Brandon, so the tires shouldn't be going through too much around here. With a track temperature of 40 degrees Celsius, though, they will be getting rather warm through some of the more high-load corners.
Yeah, certainly. Well, this track does seem rather smooth. If you can learn how to operate it very well, it does seem really smooth, especially around the mid-section. So turns 1 through to 5 seems nice and smooth. And then there's that little run at the back as well, 6, 7, and 8. That also, if you get it just right, it looks really smooth, and you can really preserve the tires left and right there as well. So be interesting to see if they do take tires in both stops, or if it's just going to be one stop for tires and one for obviously the fuel.
Beautiful venue, this one, built in the mountains, but surprisingly flat for a track of this location. In the 2014 class coming into this round, Aaron Gilbert is looking almost uncatchable at the front of the championship. His teammate Henry King sits in second ahead of Matt Haywood, who is running a special livery tonight for New Zealand's Cancer Association for Daffodil Day that happened about a week ago. Daniel Stevens and Rob Crisdale round out your top 5, and things are looking pretty close between Martin Lipsky and Gary Watson for 7th and 8th in the championship, both of them trying to grab whatever points they can over the course of the season. It's a bit closer in the 2019 class. Lockhart Brownlee won both races at Okayama last round, and so that's put him very much in touch with Dylan Walker, his now ex-teammate, who has led the championship for most of the season. Reasonably close between Chad Lewis and Robbie Bradbury as well. About 110 odd points between those guys. And Dylan Gray and Gavin Cox, they have a little bit of a battle between themselves as well. So quite a few fights to keep track of here tonight. So in qualifying, the first laps have been put down, and Dylan Walker is currently on top, 2/10 ahead of Chad Lewis at the front of the field. The 2019 cars look to be the quicker ones for the moment. Here is Matt Haywood's livery. Got a QR code right there on the machine. So once we see that car broadside, you can pause the stream, scan that QR code, and donate to New Zealand's Cancer Council. If you have means to, Matt will certainly appreciate any donations that can be managed there and help support cancer research and support in New Zealand. Let's see what Haywood will be able to do here. Run around the lap here. He's backing off a little bit, Brandon, getting ready for a run around this incredible circuit.
He's backing off there, but just want to also make my personal shout out to that livery. That is a beautiful piece of livery there from Matt Haywood. Absolutely love it. So please donate if you can. I mean, that's so cool to see that he's done this for this round. As you can see now, on board now, and he's going to start his lap, but there's going to be traffic in the way. And just ahead of him, it looks to be Lockhart Brownlee just getting out of the way there. So he's just going out of the way there. I'm not sure how much that's compromised the lap for Matt Haywood. But we'll see if he can try and squeeze through on the next car ahead of him. Yep, gets through nice and cleanly and can continue that lap. Oh, lock up, and he's almost goes around, gets it sideways. That is the lap possibly over. He might have to see if he can maybe either squeeze in one more lap or might have to go to the pits for a fresh set of boots and maybe a change of underwear.
Yes, Motegi, a lot of heavy braking zones around here, so trying to run the brake bias as far back as you can to shorten those braking zones and get the rotation into these tight corners is ideal around here. Unfortunately for Haywood, maybe a little bit too much rearward brake bias, and it didn't help that in that area of the circuit there was a lot of gravel thrown onto the racetrack too. So he's going to have to wait for another opportunity to get a time on the board. Colin runs in the 111 for Middle Finger Racing. His current time at 153.8. He's got some traffic ahead of him as well, so it's going to be difficult for him to improve on that particular lap time. He's got competition ahead of him of Billy Rowley and Joe Mahoney, who are both very reasonably good competitors in the 2014 class. Dylan Gray, he was right up the top in practice, and he sits in third at the moment in qualifying in his Mustang. Let's see what he can do coming across the line to begin another lap. 152.8 is the time that he currently has on the board here. Through turns 1 and 2. Double apex, basically. You can treat it as one corner, but you've got to be careful how you pick your line through it. And this is where Haywood made his mistake, Brandon. The run into turns 3 and 4, another double corner, this time a left, but you're accelerating through that second left-hander. It can be very easy to break traction and slide. Dylan almost did that just there.
Yeah, it certainly did. And I mean, that's a very tricky corner there. You can almost mirror turns 3 and 4 at this track to turns 4 and 5 at Queensland Raceway in Australia. I mean, it's just about the same amount of cornering there. Two left-handers see now he's just trying to get the car smooth over. This is that smooth section I was talking about earlier. You can really get a nice flow going here. Dylan Gray, I'll see what he can do here. Gets it smooth. He looks to be smooth. Little dab of the brakes there, trying to get the car rotated into the corner. He's going to come down to the straight now into this very heavy braking left-hander sequence before he goes up the hill and then past the, I guess you could call it a secondary pit lane entrance before he slams on the brakes for the hairpin and makes the run down to the final sequence of corners. Beautiful bit of rotation there. Beautifully done. That's actually this is looking like it could be a good lap for Dylan Gray. Let's just see what he can do now. Coming down to the final sequence. He's third overall at the moment. Aaron Gilbert is sitting right behind him there. And look at the discs glowing on the back of that car. Coming up to the final sequence now. A little bit of a run wide. Gets a nice smooth run. Little bit of a squiggle through the final sequence, coming up to 13. Around 14. Put the power down. And it is going from a 52.8 to a 53.0. So a little bit slower, but not a bad lap from Dylan Gray. Gets to keep his third at the moment. Aaron Gilbert just finished up with a 52.9. And I'll be surprised to see how Aaron goes tonight. And obviously, we can't talk about this with, you can't see it and not talk about it. Lockhart Brownlee once again showing us his livery making skills as he now pops up to second fastest overall. Look at that flash in the headlights. Reese, any memories of this livery for you?
Oh yeah, a couple. Watching supercars as a teenager, seeing the Autobahn Racing livery. Very nice to see that Lockie's pulled out all the stops for that one. Once again, a good lap from him as well, getting to within about a tenth of Dylan Walker at the front of the field. Also saw a big improvement in Matt Hayden, who was himself fourth in the 2014 class. Henry King second in the championship, and teammate to championship leader Aaron Gilbert. He is going to start another lap there in car number 2. Robbie Bradbury looking for a little bit more out of the number 35. He hasn't set a time yet, but he is about to set his first one, and it is a 153.8. That will put him into 11th place overall. He's still got the top 6 in the 2014 class ahead of him. His teammate Peter Pavlovich puts himself just behind there in P12 overall, and a little bit of a mistake on the way into the first turn there. That's an escape there, and we shall see if they emerge back out in the last few minutes. Matt Haywood, meanwhile, 4th in the 2014 class. If he wants to get into the top 3, he needs to find about 0.3 of a second. And we'll see what Henry King can do on his final attempts here as well. It's looking lovely and smooth through the S-bend in the middle of the lap here. Not maximising curb usage like we'd expect drivers in the main game on Sunday to do. I think Motegi in these cars is more about just keeping it on the black stuff and straightening your exits as best you can. The curbs here are quite thin, but they are usable.
Certainly are. I mean, this is the kind of track where you can get a nice flow over the curbs and get a good run for yourself there. As you can see, look in the background there. I can see we've got another retro looking livery as well. That's looking rather nice there. We'll see who that was a little bit later on as we focus now on Henry King coming down to the final sequence of corners to complete his lap. See if he can improve on that 53.6 that's currently got him sitting 9th overall. Let's see if he can go any quicker. We normally see him at the front of the 2014 pack, and this lap is really slow. A 2-minute lap, so he must have either had a bit of a lose or that was just his warm-up lap. For now, as you can see, there is Mitch Nayan, a newer competitor to the series. I assume this is his debut, and also running a retro Ford livery, looking rather nice. So I'm loving that. Hoping to see more retro liveries later on when we get down to the back half of the season now.
Yes, it's going to be enduro season after this round, so we've got a lot of potential there. And V8SCOPS supports will obviously be racing at the Enduro Cup rounds as well to end off the V8SCOPS season. Dylan Walker try and make one more improvement here. He already has provisional pole, but Lockhart Brownlee is very close indeed, only a 10th behind. So Dylan has a bit of work to do to try and put a bit more space between him, get some insurance, you could say. Way down the pit straight for the east layout, which is the most used variant of this circuit in supercars racing. And I think Dylan Walker isn't really pushing here. The lap is gearing up for this being a single race server. You'll be able to complete a lap once the timer hits 0. So this is an opportunity for him with about 5 seconds remaining on the clock to get one more lap in, and Brownlee is going to do the same thing. That's our top 2 in qualifying, following each other on track. Going to be an interesting matchup.
We'll have to keep an eye on these two for sure. We'll see now, looking at the some of the field coming in now. There was Henry King coming into the field, into the pit lane, sorry. Dan Stevens comes along the line. He has not seen a time yet. We'll see what he can do. Onboard shot there, love it, with a 153.9. And that puts him 12th overall. Not running a supercars wheel. He doesn't seem too happy about that time. And not running a supercars wheel either, running like a sports car wheel. So let's just see what happens there. Billy Rowley now comes across the line now. Not a very quick lap either. And Peter Pavlovich now in the 216 is going to come across the line as well to complete his lap. The checkered flag is flying. A lot of guys now coming to complete their laps. Dylan Gray looking to get a free tow off Aaron Gilbert here.
Yeah, but looks like might abandon the lap here because the 2019 cars have quite a large advantage over the 2014 cars at this track. It seems only about 0.4 of a second, but that can make a difference. Can Aaron Gilbert make any improvement on his 152.8? It's a shame he's going to get the time in England because he was looking pretty good in practice. Gilbert is going to take the opportunity to practice pit entry as Brownlee and Walker will reach the end of their final hot laps here. Bit of rotation on the exit for Dylan Walker. Let's see what they can do here. Across the line they will come. For Dylan Walker it's a 152.8, and for Brownlee it's faster, a 152.3, and he takes pole position for the race in the dying seconds of the session.
Oh, that is absolutely brilliant. Good job for Lockhart Brownlee. He absolutely nailed it on the put the nail in the coffin right there. That was absolutely awesome. Well done to Lockhart now for securing the pole for this one. We'll take a look at the grid now. Lockhart Brownlee starting P1 and Dylan Walker in P2. Then we have another couple of Gen 2 cars, Chad Lewis and Dylan Gray for P3 and 4. Then we go to our first 2014 cars with Aaron Gilbert and Joe Mahoney in the top 6.
Yep, Billy Rowley and Matt Haywood will start 7th and 8th, with Henry King and Colin Bruns rounding out your top 10. Then it's Robbie Bradbury and Daniel Stevens 11th and 12th, with Peter Pavlovich and Wayne Taylor on the 7th row. Mitch Nairn and Martin Lipsky on row number 8. Gary Watson will be the 17th and final car to take to the grid here. We have Tim Mulford and Tom Wilkinson in race control tonight. Lachlan Capel is your safety car driver. Hopefully he doesn't have to make many appearances tonight. It's a pretty long lap around Motegi already, and under safety car it's going to take a very long time. But before we do that, Brandon, a quick reminder of what's coming up. 32 laps or 75 minutes, whichever comes first, and well, the drivers will be trying to set up for those 2 compulsory pit stops. I wonder how much tire saving we're going to be seeing.
I reckon we might be seeing quite a bit. I mean, 32 laps around here doesn't seem like much when you just count them up, but I mean, like you said, this is a long lap, and it's probably the longest one in the calendar. Probably, maybe apart from probably Bathurst, I reckon. But yeah, this track is quite long, so we'll see how much tire conserving these guys want to try and do here tonight for this 32 lap affair around Twin Ring Motegi, and I'm looking forward to it.
As am I, as should all of you out there, whatever platform you're on watching this stream. Thank you very much for being here. You're about to see a fantastic show of high stakes, high octane V8 racing. Brownlee versus Walker has been one of the headline battles of this season of V8SCOPS supports, and they will be starting alongside each other on that front row. It's a reasonable run to turn one here at this circuit. It's not the longest that we've ever seen, but there's enough space towards turn one that if you mess up your initial getaway from the grid, then you're going to have problems on your way into the first turn. And trying to nail the exit of turn two is essential because you have a whole other straight to work things out. And then you have the braking zone at turn three, a good opportunity to send one up the inside. Well, let's just hope that we have a clean first lap here. We're in it for the long haul for this one, but I'm sure those 32 laps are going to run by as quickly as you like. These drivers always provide a fantastic show. Just a few seconds remaining on the grid timer, and we can find our way to the start and wait for that V8 Symphony to descend over the hills of Japan outside Tokyo. Revs rise, and we are away. Wheel spin for Dylan Walker. Lockhart Brownlee gets the better run into turn one as they're 3 wide for the third overall position. Aaron Gilbert splitting Chad Lewis and Dylan Gray to move up into third overall. And everyone seems to have gotten through turn one cleanly. For the moment, Lockhart Brownlee has a comfortable lead on the way to turn three. There goes Chad Lewis up the inside of Dylan Gray. Just enough space being given, and Lewis will take the position through turn four. Needs to try and nail the run out of here. This is when the tyres are at their best in these cars, right on the first lap. So you need to take advantage of every single opportunity you can get. Defensive into the hairpin. Gray's trying round the outside of Lewis, and he's going to get the run. Goodness me, this is intense between the ERT and Pacific Esports Racing drivers. Oh, gently does it on your way into the S's. It looks like Gray's going to get it back. Nice racing.
Oh, that was absolutely brilliant stuff by Dylan Gray. What a clean start for a majority of the field there. Dylan Gray really putting the hammer down in that Ford Mustang. Look how close Chad Lewis is getting. He's absolutely right on the bumper. That is so close right there. You said yourself, Reese. First lap is where these tyres are at their best look, and look at this top view right here into the hairpin here. You can see just how the drivers are going to try and navigate. A few more pass opportunities going on in the background there. What a beautifully clean start for the first lap here of first to 32. And you can see now some of the drivers now making their way down into the final section. Aaron Gilbert, though, what a start for Aaron Gilbert. Started in fifth, is up to third, so he split a couple of the 319 cars right down the middle, essentially. He's the meat in the 2019 sandwich, and you can see now he is going to have to put his foot down and try and make his way up to the top there. But Lockhart Brownlee comes across the line in first. Dylan Walker, followed by Aaron Gilbert, the first of the 2014 cars. This is looking like it's going to be a bit of a spicy one, and that's me calling this one early on lap two.
Yeah, of course. The field has settled into a bit of a rhythm there, coming onto lap two, single file for the most part, but I'm sure once everyone gets their bearings, we're going to be seeing some overtakes. Joe Mahoney and Billy Rowley, they've both been passed by Matt Haywood, who also got a lightning start on the first lap and is immediately pursuing Lewis and Gray up ahead. But Billy Rowley wants to get past Joe Mahoney. Has to be careful on the brakes, though, around the slowest corner of the lap, or one of the slowest. I believe the slowest is actually the hairpin towards the guns. We'll see our field make their way underneath the super speedway. Mitch Nairn, for the moment, having a stable start. He and Martin Lipsky occupying the same positions they started in. Peter Pavlovich, the Commodore ahead, is down one from where he started. So Mitch is having an interesting debut here. Already got someone to race with.
Yeah, this is absolutely awesome. This is what you want when you go racing. You want someone to race with, someone you can just sort of learn off of if you're new to a series. And that's probably one of the best things about racing. Someone online, you can get a lot of good lessons out of it. So we'll see if Mitch can use some of the skills he's going to learn tonight to try and see if he can make up maybe a couple of positions here tonight. And you can see now, just off the back of Mitch is the 32 there of Martin Lipsky. Martin Lipsky getting a little bit close as well for where. So I think these two, Ed Pavlovich and Nayan, might have some company fairly shortly. And look at this gap here, half a second, less than half a second, sorry, between the ex-teammates here of Lockhart Brownlee and Dylan Walker. Absolutely flying around this track now. Already on lap 3, fastest lap to Dylan Walker with a 53.0. That is some good pace right there.
Yeah, good pace indeed. He is wanting to reassert himself here and stop Lockhart Brownlee from eating into his championship lead more, but there's a lock-up for Lockie, and it seems Dylan Walker smells blood in the water. Will he go for the move at the hairpin? The door will open to the inside, and he's going to have a look at least, but he's not going to go for the move. Smart decision early on in this race, but it doesn't stop Lockhart Brownlee from running wide again, and it almost offers the opportunity to Walker. It looks to me like Lockhart Brownlee is fast, but a little inconsistent in these early stages of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. Dylan Walker knows how to just maneuver the car, just to sort of manipulate the mirrors there of Lockhart Brownlee. Lockhart will think he's making a move there. It almost cost him going into turn 5, so he knows that he's just got to be careful. He's got to keep his head down, keep to your racing line, and see if he can sort of get up ahead. We've got a few more position changes happening in the 2014 class. I can see some of the numbers there are moving around, so I think we have some more position changes happening in the background. But look at this beautiful gap here. It looks as though Aaron Gilbert's just keeping the gap there. He's close enough. He can see the two ahead of him. So he's hoping for maybe Dylan Walker and Lockhart Brownlee to make a bit of a slip up, and he can slip on through and take the lead. But so far so good. It's clean as a whistle here. And Dylan Walker's now going to have to try and find that pace once again. The gap has opened up just a little, but it's not anywhere near to just over half a second. Let's take a look at some replays.
Yeah, so Wayne Taylor, who is racing for the first time this season. It looks like that might have been Pavlovich that he cleaned up there, coming out of turn 2, I believe. That's unfortunate. Oh, no, through the S. My apologies. That's a shame there for both involved drivers. Taylor has jumped into the pits, evidently either to get damage repair or to get the first of his compulsory stops out of the way now that he has had that incident. The lead, meanwhile, continuing to close. Dylan Walker shadowing Lockhart Brownlee under the shadow, so to speak.
Nice little analogy there, Reese. I absolutely love that one. That was brilliantly done. Never would have thought of that one myself. But yeah, look, you can see the gap now. They're really closing up as we take a look back here at another battle. Daniel Stevens and Henry King going at it for 6th and 7th, respectively, in their class. Beautiful onboard shot there. You can see the wheel work. Oh, a little sideways for Dan Stevens. And you can see he's really trying to hustle it around as Henry King goes for a move up the inside. Looks to keep it clean. There you go. And it looks like we're going to get us a drag race down into the hairpin. Ford versus Holden. Who's your money on? Henry King keeps it around the outside. He's still there. And that was very wide. So that might have cost Henry King there a little bit as he's pulled back in behind Stevens. Henry King has shown some great pace here. Here we go. Get down and gets the pass clearly done. I'm not sure if Dan Stevens maybe just let him through, and maybe Dan will just follow Henry King around for a little bit, maybe make a move later on down, or maybe wait for the pit stops. Oh, in the background there, Billy Rowley gets out of 14, and okay, so it's dropped now behind Stevens, so that's dropped him way back, and that's brought a lot of dirt on. I'm not sure what happened there with Billy. That was a bit of a weird one. I'm not too sure. Just exit stage left. Here we go.
Oh, lost the rear. Which is very easy to do in that section of the track. You know, you need the rotation to get the car through the chicane quickly, but if you're on the brakes while turning, trying to get it slowed down, it can be very easy to lose the rear. And I think Rowley may have locked the brakes on a downshift. Not entirely sure, but that is a common thing to happen with these cars.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I mean, good spotting there by by obviously Billy to try not to take out Joe Mahoney as well. I think Joe needs to go buy a lotto ticket now after that one. That was super, super close. I don't know how they didn't make contact, but yeah, look, of course, Billy now drops himself back a little bit. Absolutely a bit of a shame there for him after the recent rounds he's had, especially Road Atlanta. I'm going back a fair way, but Road Atlanta is the biggest one that comes to mind as we look on board now with Lockhart Brownlee as they round up, finish off lap 5, and he's gonna still carry on here. See, beautiful shot here at the rear of the car. You can see if the gap is you can see the gap to Dylan Walker there, and you can see it's opened up a little bit. So I think Lockhart's found a bit of pace now to sort of open up a gap to his ex-teammate. You can see him coming around 13 and 14, and gets nice and wide over the curb and back onto the start finish straight to start another lap. Reese, I'm sorry, I'm just baffled by how beautifully presented Lockhart Brownlee makes these cars look. It is giving really, like, it just looks so immaculate. It looks like it's fresh out of a showroom floor. I'm loving it.
Yeah, I'm loving it too. You can always count on Lockie to bring a fantastic livery to every round here. But is it a winning formula to take the win on the track? We'll have to wait and see. Dylan Walker has fallen back a little bit from Brownlee. It's been a nice response from Lockhart, potentially on the cooler tyres. Lockhart was having a bit of trouble getting up to speed, but now that he's in the rhythm of the race, it seems that he's gotten some of that pace back. He did run a little bit wide through the hairpin just then, so does need to be careful, and he's very deep into the S's that time. That has ruined his exit, and Walker gains about a car length or so on him in the process. All about acceleration in this part of the circuit. It's such a technical track, Motegi. You do have the high-speed S. You've got turns 1 and 2 to try and carry a lot of speed through, but for the most part, it's all about how well you can brake and how much traction you've got on the exit.
Yeah, so you don't want to put the power down too quickly. We know what the power can be like, the power difference can be like between the two cars, and we know that you can get on the power a lot earlier, or full throttle a lot earlier in the 2014 cars compared to the 2019 cars. Lockhart Brownlee runs a bit wide there, or does that cost him? Oh, Dylan Walker, he's now sniffed at another opportunity here. He's going to want that first place. We'll see if he can get it done there. That was a bit of a wide moment there for Lockhart Brownlee. See if that contributes to anything there. If Dylan Walker can keep up this pace, he might be able to get a pass there. We know he's quick. A little wide there for Lockhart Brownlee. He's going to defend with everything he has. Left, right. Which way do you want to go?
Yeah, let's see. Oh, I had to have a couple of goes at the steering on the way in there. Yeah, Lockhart is having some trouble with the setup, it seems. Dylan Walker is looking like he's supreme at the moment under this acceleration, and Brownlee is forced defensive coming into the hairpin. He'll stay ahead of Walker for the moment. Maybe gets a little tap on the exit. Dylan's going to try and force it as much as he can within the rules, as looked like Dylan Gray was running wide behind there. Actually, I think it might have been Robbie Bradbury who was running wide. Not entirely sure. It was a Mustang, so evidently not a great day to be a Mustang driver. If you're a Commodore driver, you are right up the front. And Walker, see the way he fires towards the apex. It seems that Brownlee is waiting a bit to turn in, getting a bit of a wider arc through the corners, but apparently making a V shape out of your line is the faster way, at least for Dylan Walker. He's going to try and move on the exit here. Brownlee runs wide again, didn't get on the power like he wanted to, and that's going to offer the opportunity up to the championship leader. They bang mirrors on the way into the braking zone, pushing as hard as they can. Brownlee's going to, only just give enough room to Walker, who sails through the corner and makes contact with Brownlee to get into the lead.
Oh, what a beautiful move by Dylan Walker there. They were wing mirror to wing mirror, wing to wing. That was absolutely brilliant stuff there by Dylan Walker. Dylan Walker, he gets through absolutely brilliantly, gets up into P1 now, and Aaron Gilbert now, he's also on the back now of Lockhart Brownlee. All this fighting has brought Aaron Gilbert that little bit closer to the pack at the front. We take a look at the replay here. Matt Haywood and Joe Mahoney. Let's see here. It looks okay. So here it was an overtake done. Let's see here. Round the outside.
Haywood lifts off.
And Haywood, yeah, you're right. He does lift off. I think that's a similar situation to earlier a few laps ago when we had Dan Stevens and Henry King having the battle there. I think Dan also lifted off a little bit here. Take a look at the back here. Chad Lewis now right onto the back of Dylan Gray. It was Dylan Gray that went a little bit wide earlier. And Chad Lewis now sniffs on the back as well of Dylan Gray. So if Dylan Walker's got some fortunes in the Commodore, maybe the fortunes might drop down to Chad Lewis as well. He's in the Commodore. Let's see if he can make a move here past Dylan Gray. The gap is closing. It's 0.2 of a second. Look at the gap. It is, there's nothing in it. There's nothing in it. Can Chad Lewis make a pass here? If he doesn't try the hairpin, he can maybe try the next corner. He needs a good run. He needs a good run out of the hairpin here. Let's see. Oh! I think Dylan Gray might have been on the anchors a bit too long there to try and get the car rotated. As we see now, Lockhart Brownlee now looking for a move back.
That's deep.
Walker. That is deep.
Too deep.
And it's too much. Dylan Walker says, thank you very much. I'll take that one back. Thank you, sir.
And look who's joined them. Aaron Gilbert is now right on the back of our top two. Our 2014 class leader is getting a front row seat to all of this action. Gilbert, the fastest car on track last time by, and on that lap as well. 154.0 for Aaron Gilbert. So if Brownlee and Walker keep battling like they are, we could potentially see Aaron Gilbert getting another overall victory in this series. He's certainly been the guy with the most form as we find our way through turns 3 and 4 once again. Very narrow line through there, not just because of the nature of the corner, but because of all the gravel that's still out there on the outside of the racetrack. Definitely not much grip in through there if you go side by side. For the moment, Walker has looked the more consistent of our top two for the time being, but we've still got to wait and see what happens to the pace as the fuel burns off and as the tires go through their heat cycle.
Yeah, well, we're 9 laps down, or 8 laps down, sorry, on lap 9 of this race, and not many pit stops have been done. Only one's been done at this stage, and that was Wayne Taylor after that off that he had earlier at the start of the race. I think this top 3 now, actually this field is starting to sort of just settle down a little bit, try and conserve some of that pace. I mean, it's 2 compulsory pit stops, and you can choose whether you want to run an even stint or an even race amongst the 2 pit stops, or if you want to do 1 quick pit stop and maybe 1 straight after that. Look how close Aaron Gilbert is on Lockhart Brownlee now, and it looks like that gap has opened up just a little bit. Coming through to complete lap number 9 into lap 10. This is a beautiful section. I absolutely love that section at the end of the track there. Lockhart gets a little bit squirrely on the exit, and it looks as though Chad Lewis now has come into the pits. So he'll be the second person in this race to take a pit stop. So the pit cycle will now begin, I should say, given that Wayne Taylor only made his pit stop right at the start. So that was after an off.
Yeah, and Taylor had some damage to repair. He was in the pits for about 3 minutes earlier on, so he'll still have to get more service done later. Chad Lewis is joined by Martin Lipsky, who is the first of our 2014 cars to come in. And Lewis's first stop, 13.1 seconds. That's a tyre change plus fuel. So see if he needs to take more fuel in the second stop. Lipsky, meanwhile, time ticking up as our leaders traverse the fast S-bend for the 10th time in this race. Lipsky, obviously the 2014 cars take a bit longer to fill up their tanks than the 2019 cars do, but even then that is looking a little bit long for my liking. 21 seconds for Lipsky through the pits. So those are your benchmarks for our respective classes out here, as Lockhart Brownlee now sees the back of Dylan Walker closing towards him once again. Now he's got to worry about the 2014 Falcon of Aaron Gilbert as well. Hard on the brakes downhill. It's very tempting to go for the inside at that particular turn. It's a bit faster than it looks. Downhill braking, so the braking zone is a little bit longer than you'd expect, but very easy to overshoot, as Brownlee found out the hard way a couple of laps ago.
Yeah, it is a very easy corner to overshoot, especially going downhill like that. You carry a lot of momentum into the corner, a lot more than what you would at any other particular corner on this track. We can see now on board with Aaron Gilbert. Now you can see there's just sitting in behind the two 2019 Holden Commodores of Lockhart Brownlee and Dylan Walker. He's just gonna wait it out as Robbie Bradbury has come into the lane now just to take a little service and get the first of his two compulsory pit stops out of the way. Race has calmed down now. It's still just easing out. Everyone's in their own little battles or their own little races here. We'll see if anything else comes of this, and we got little battle packs forming around this racetrack. Robbie Bradbury still in the pit lane. 20.5 is the benchmark for him, and that's fairly long stop, almost as long as Martin Lipsky's stop in the 2014 cars. So we'll see what happens here. Look at Lockhart Brownlee. As I'm talking about pit stops, there's a battle happening right in front of me here. Lockhart Brownlee has now found that little bit of pace there. He's going to try and look to unsettle his ex-teammate, and we'll see if that has any effect on this one.
Yes, indeed. The track temperature has gone down from qualifying, down to 35 Celsius, so that might offer up a bit of a chance here for Lockhart Brownlee to manage his tyres a little better. Potentially, he was struggling in the early stages because of the jump up in track temperature. We'll find out very soon. For Bradbury, I think the reason for that longer pit stop is he put more fuel in the car. I think Chad Lewis is trying to do a bit more of an even split as both of our 2019 leaders come in, negotiate the tight chicane on the pit entry here, and immediately to the inside of the pit lane. You can gain a lot of time by cutting that little bit of tarmac there on the way into the pits. Obviously don't cut the chicane on entry because there's grass and you will get a slowdown. Who gets the faster stop then out of Lockhart Brownlee and Dylan Walker, as Dylan Gray joins them in the lane, and Aaron Gilbert, Joe Mahoney and Matt Haywood become your top three. Walker's away first. It's an 11.6 second stop, and Lockhart Brownlee 12.2. So looks like they both took around about the same amount of fuel, took tyres as well, but for Brownlee, it was a bit of a slower run through the pit lane.
Wondering if he maybe unfortunately made a bit of a mistake or that, but maybe missed the pit box. Obviously, we can do that under pressure, but we see now that they have now come out back in this battle pack. Look at Lockhart Brownlee on the headlights. He's flashing the Peter Pavlovich Commodore in front of him. He's going for a dive. This is for position. That was late. He gets it done. I think Peter Pavlovich is just like, you know what? I'm just going to concede this one. This isn't my fight. Lockhart Brownlee now will focus back up the front there onto Dylan Walker. Now he's got another car in front of him. That is Mitch Nayan, who is in the 2014 car. No, Lockhart has spun Mitch. Mitch, just stop there. Oh, that is not going to be looked favorably upon at race control. Mitch, in his debut race, is unfortunately been spun around there. So that is that's a tough one.
Yeah, certainly is. Mitch, of course, on old tyres and a bit off the pace in his first attempt at V8SCOPS supports. Brownlee gets on the power. He thinks that Nayan is going to get out of the corner at the same rate he does. He was just caught out. The Falcon went nowhere on the exit.
Yeah, so the Falcon had somehow went into limp mode compared to what Lockhart was doing. But Lockhart, obviously, on those fresh tyres, trying to battle and get up into position there to battle Dylan Walker there. And unfortunately, I think you're right. I think it has just caught him out now. As we get more pit stops done, Aaron Gilbert, Matt Haywood, Billy Rowley is coming in, and Peter Pavlovic is coming in as well. So this is looking like it is going to be a real battle here. Aaron Gilbert, 11.4 seconds. That is quick. That is quick. That's the fastest time we've seen out of a 2014 car. Matt Haywood with 11.8. Billy Rowley now still going ahead. Looks like he's going to top the tank up at 23.2 seconds. So Billy Rowley looking to run a bit long in this next stint. But Aaron Gilbert now has come out with some fresh rubber as well. We'll see if he can put the fresh tyres to good use in this next portion of the race here. See how it all plays out now. More and more pit stops are being done. We just have a handful of pit stops left to be made.
Just a handful. We're still waiting on Mahoney, King, Stevens and Bruns at the front of the field. Mitch Nahan has not come into the lane either, running down an 11th overall at the moment after that unfortunate spin thanks to Lockhart Brownlee. Well, Daniel Stevens is going to, okay, for a second I thought it was going to continue on, but that's the wrong pit lane right there. They are coming up to the end of the lap. He and his teammate Colin Bruns, and it seems that they've managed to, whatever setup issues Stevens was having in qualifying, after letting Henry King by earlier, he's managed to work things out here in the race, and he's gotten some good pace on there. But into the pits he will come, and Colin Bruns is going to stay out. Mahoney stays out as well. King has pitted just ahead of him. So now it's another battle of the pit stops. Will King do the same thing that his teammate Aaron Gilbert did and take a bit less fuel than he otherwise would in his first stop, potentially to regain some track position? We'll wait and see. The time's up on the screen at the moment, and Henry King, 10.3 seconds in the box. That is tyres and just a small dash of fuel.
Okay, so I think Henry King wants to try and get a bit of a gap on the rest of his competitors here, especially Dan Stevens. That's who he's been fighting with for most of this one. My guess is Henry is going to try and run a little bit more, maybe run it to the end of the tank and then top up and go towards the end. That is my guess. That's the best guess I can give you at the moment. I know nothing of strategy, I can tell you that right now, given my brief run of history on iRacing. So yeah, looking now ahead at Joe Mahoney, who is currently leading the 2014 cars quite comfortably there, 13 seconds adrift. And we're looking back now at Martin Lipsky and Gary Watson now. A couple of Falcons making their way down into turn number 1 as well. So the race has now calmed down to a bit more now. I think we've now sort of sealed into a bit of a rhythm here, and we can see now as the drivers now make their way now into the second stint here, almost halfway through this one.
And Lipsky and Watson, as we pointed out at the top of the show, in a bit of a battle towards the back end of the 2014 class for points. So it's going to be important for these two which order they finish in, racing directly against each other. Watson had the longer pit stop, so he's going to be able to go longer in the second stint. Mahoney and Bruns finally come into the pit lane. And continuing the strategy talk, it's interesting that the Team Jinx Shifters Falcons of Gilbert and King have gone for a short pit stop here in the sort of first compulsory run through the pits. What they are doing, I think, is definitely a track position ploy. They'll have a light car, they'll have fresh tyres, they'll be able to run some very fast laps and potentially negate the disadvantage that is yet to come for them. They will have to pay the debt back somewhat with a longer time spent refueling in the pits at stop number 2. Meanwhile, Matt Haywood running 5th overall, 2nd in the 2014 class. We've got Dylan Gray right behind him, and Gray had quite a long pit stop. He is one of the 2019 cars that's decided to go for a bigger fuel drop, and it looks like he's going to get the run out of the hairpin here up the inside through the just about flat out right-hander on your way up to the S. Slight mistake from Matt Haywood gets it done for Dylan Gray, who himself had a little bit of a snap in the hairpin. So another position up there for Mr. Gray. and he will have the benefit of a shorter pit stop later on himself.
Yeah, certainly. That's how you want to play your strategy. It depends on how your race goes. You can change it up mid-race if you want to. But yeah, it looks as though the strategy is very up and down amongst the field at this point in time. And look at the gap now that Dylan Walker has over his ex-teammate here in Lockout Brownie. Look at that gap there, 1.1 seconds. So for a gap that was very close prior to the pit stops to a gap that's now opened up, and it continues to open as this race continues, I'm starting to think that maybe Lockhart might just want to play the conservative game here, but of course we don't know what race control is going to be thinking, obviously with that contact with Mitch Naya. We'll find that out hopefully in a bit. You can see there, thanks to Jay here, you can see the time difference in the pit lane. It's not much, but look at the gap that's opened up here as well between the top two. And Aaron Gilbert sniffing around in the back there in the 2014 Falcon. I'm not ruling him out of this one.
No, certainly not. Gilbert is always an element in these races. Brownlee with a huge slide out of the hairpin there. It seems that he's been struggling to keep the car sort of within those margins. You got to keep it in for a track like this. Motegi is such a technical circuit, and it's very setup dependent as well. You set up your dampers right and get your anti-roll bars correct, and you will be fast around here. But you need to be careful not to push the car too hard on the exits of these corners, otherwise you'll see exactly what Lockhart Brownlee is suffering from right now as Gilbert creeps ever closer there in the background. Here's a nice little slow-mo that Jay's prepared for us. Brownlee trailing the brakes into the hairpin, gets on the power. I think he could already sense he was running wide at that point, so maybe just decided to kick it into the slide to get the last bit of rotation done on the exit. It did cost him a few tenths.
Awesome little shot there. Shout out to Jay Kennedy, our producer, bringing us these awesome pictures. That was a brilliant looking shot there. I've just had a look at my my live timing here, Reese. Mitch Nayan has still not made his way into the pits, and we're halfway through this race. I am not too sure how much longer he's going to last with the fuel tank that he has, and those tires will want to be screaming for mercy at this point.
Yeah, it's curious that Mitch has stayed out as long as he has. If I was in his position, I would have pitted as soon as the incident with Brownlee happened, because you might as well try and minimize the damage by taking a pit stop and you continue on from there. But he now makes it 16 laps done on a tank, and yeah, that is basically halfway through the race. So either Nayan's got a strategy wild card that he's about to throw down that will surprise us all, or he, well, you know, maybe he's just trying to see how far he can push the car. This is his first round after all. He might just be testing the limits. For the moment, keep our eyes on Brownlee and Gilbert for second overall. I think Dylan Walker's gotten away now as development in the battle between Lipsky and Watson. Lipsky a bit deep into the hairpin, and Gary Watson makes the pass, gets up into 15th overall, 9th in 2014.
Absolutely brilliant run there. Looks like Lipsky had locked up a little bit going into the hairpin. You can see how close they are still going into the pass there. Ooh, looks like might have been a little contact on the exit of the corner here. We're focusing back on the battle for second overall. Here we go. Oh, Gilbert was looking. He had poked the nose out a little bit, trying to unseal Brownlee here. Coming down now through 13 and 14. Gilbert, I think, has now turned up the wick a little bit. Oh, Brownlee a little bit sideways again out of turn 14. He's really pushing it there, waiting to catch up. Here we go, and Gilbert's still looking for a move there. You can see on the bottom of the screen there, the battle between Gary Watson and Martin Lipsky is still raging on. I don't think Martin wants to give this one up. These are both live pictures you're looking at right now. So pick a camera and enjoy the view.
Yeah, it's a great view no matter what here at Twin Ring Motegi. Sits in a little bit of a bowl in the land. So, you know, from a single spectator area, you can see quite a bit of the racetrack. Let's see if Lipski can get the run on Watson there. Seems to be struggling a bit on exits for the moment, and it's a similar issue to what Brownlee's suffering at the moment. Aaron Gilbert continuing to pressure him, and run time's pretty equal to our current runner-up in the championship in the 2019 class. Second pit stop should be coming around pretty shortly for these guys. Meanwhile, Mitch Nahan finally brings the number 5 into the pit lane, and this is going to be a very long stop, round about 30 seconds it looks like, maybe longer, 32.1 seconds. Now, I hope that Mitch is aware he's going to have to make a second stop, because what that's telling me is he's basically put all of the fuel that he needs to get to the end.
Yeah, so he's basically wanting to run it along. I think he's planning on a shorter stop. But as you said, this is his first round. He might be just wanting to test it out a little bit. And you can see he's come out here behind Martin Lipski. Right in the midst of this is Martin's trying to get up to Gary Watson. So I wonder if Mitch is just playing around a little bit to see what might work for him. Looking back at this battle at the front here, Aaron Gilbert now still looking. And he's poking his nose out a little bit. Just trying to unsettle Lockhart Brownie there. That's one thing you can do. Fill the mirrors and just see what he can do. Normally in iRacing, you want to run the rearview mirror, and I think if you can see a car moving around like that, I think it's just going to unsettle you a little bit here. Dylan Walker's checked out of this. He's going to carry on with 14 to go. He doesn't want to battle anymore. So Lockhart's now been left with Aaron Gilbert here. And how long have we even seen these two battle it out all season long, whether it's for the lead overall or just for any position that is available to them?
Yeah, it's been great fighting throughout the whole season in V8SCOPS supports. I'm really a fan of this format that we've come into for this season. Originally, the V8's support category was just the 2014 cars, while the SCOPS main game still used these 2019 cars on screen at the moment. But with another slip from Brownlee. With the changes over to the 2025 season, the introduction of the Gen 3 supercars, the main game moved to Gen 3, and meanwhile the 2014 and 2019 cars have been put together in the supports category, and it's produced some fantastic action thus far. Haywood now sees Henry King try a move up the inside, but Henry backs out of it. Looks like he might have to wait another corner to complete that move. Haywood currently holds on to second in the 2014 class. King is all over the back of him, looking to try and unsettle him. But King is going to have to pay the debt, as Gilbert will, with a slightly longer second stop. Speaking of second stops, Lipski and Taylor the first to take them from the rear of the field. Brownlee comes in then for his second stop as well.
Awesome stuff there to see. I think Brownie just wanted to get out of that battle there. I think you could sense that those tyres were starting to go. Might be looking to a bit of an undercut on Dylan Walker, and maybe even try and see if he can keep ahead of Aaron Gilbert here. Loving this little battle here between two 2014 Falcons, Matt Haywood and Henry King. Okay, Henry King runs a little bit deep there, and Lockhart Brownlee 10 seconds exactly, so a slightly quicker stop for Lockhart Brownlee compared to his previous stop. We'll see if that might help him out in this one. A little bit of dirt being kicked up there. We wonder who run a little bit wide just ahead of them. See, it's one of the Commodores up ahead, the 059, and I think that was Wayne Taylor. Unfortunately, might be having a bit of a moment there as this battle between the two 2014 Falcons continues. It's New Zealand versus Australia, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt Haywood, of course, hailing from Kiwi land, and a former member and a member of the Sim Blacks team. So this will work out nicely between these two. Dylan Gray, then the next of the 2019 cars to make his way into the pits, and his friends at Pacific Esports Racing will have Daniel Stevens for very close company. Robbie Bradbury holding on only just to 8th overall and having to go very defensive indeed. Stevens using the slightly more pliable and docile driving characteristics of the 2014 cars to put his Commodore pretty much wherever he wants on the track. Slight slide for Bradbury as Dylan Walker now responds to Lockhart Brownlee, comes into the pits, and it looks like Chad Lewis is going to do the same thing. How long is Walker's second stop going to be? I'm expecting that it's going to be just as quick as Brownlee's. The 2019 cars on the second stop seem to just be taking tyres and just enough fuel to cover the tyres. Walker with 12 seconds in the box. That's a little bit slow, and it means that Brownlee will carry the momentum through and get back into the lead.
It's a brilliant call there by Lockhart Brownlee now, but with a shorter pit stop, not so sure what he might be short on. Would have been a bit of the fuel there, so he's going to have to do a bit of fuel saving here with 12 to go, as this battle just ahead of them between Matt Haywood and Henry King, is still raging on, as more secondary pit stops are being completed. Now Dylan Walker, now keep an eye on him. He'll have those slightly fresher tires, 1 lap extra fresher tires. Doesn't seem like much, but it could mean a change in the race results. We'll see if Lockhart can keep ahead of Dylan Walker. We now know how tough Dylan Walker is when it comes to racing for position, so we'll see if that makes a difference to Lockhart Brownlee. Lockhart is still sliding about everywhere, and we'll see if he can just keep this going here. Here we go, both live pictures here. Thank you, Jay. And we can see now there is a couple of really good battles here. You can just see in the background there, Henry King now with a move. Oh, that is running it really, really deep there into the hairpin, and they'll come out the other side and try and see if he can make another move later down here at this downhill section here, where you can carry a bit of momentum, and it's not going to happen. As you can see, top of the screen there, Lockhart Brownlee moving around, trying to defend, trying to make sure that Dylan Walker cannot get anywhere near him. As we see back at the bottom screen, Henry King pulls out of it and is going to go for that second pit stop.
All right, now King had a very short stop. We shall see if this second stop is just as short. Looks like Daniel Stevens. Stevens is going to have to take his second stop as well. In comes Billy Rowley. And Stevens is going to stay out a little bit longer, it looks like. So for Henry King, he's going to have to settle for the 7th or 8th running position on track for the moment. The gap for the lead is coming down between Gilbert and between Brownlee and Walker. Only separated by 0.4 of a second now, and we will have to wait another lap to... Oh, okay, that's very wide for Brownlee. I was going to say we were going to have to wait a lap for Dylan Walker's pace to be shown, but looks like we won't need to wait. Little bump on the way through the right-hander, and Walker's going to try and go back through, but Brownlee is very deep, and they come together. Both of the leaders are off the track, and Dylan Walker takes the shorter route back onto the racetrack. He'll have a slowdown to serve, so will Brownlee. Oh, looks like the fireworks are starting to explode.
Oh, that is definitely going to set race control off. They're going to have a big, big look at that one. We have had nothing like that. The two former teammates getting into it. No one is giving an inch in this one. They both want to win this so badly. This is your battle for the 2019 championship, or for the 2019 cars in the championship. This is your top two, Dylan Walker and Lockhart Brownlee. Lockhart has been on such a roll as of late. He's closed that gap ever so slightly. Dylan Walker doesn't want it to happen. Look at the scuff marks on Dylan Walker's car. It is just like they're throwing haymakers. This isn't just a car race anymore. This is a UFC fight.
Yeah, it's turning into a bit of a brawl, isn't it? Oh, Brownlee catches the grass on the way into turn 1, and he'll try and rotate it through turn 2. Got to wonder how far these two are going to go in their battle for victory. Daniel Stevens finally comes in for his second stop, and we're still waiting on second stops from Gilbert, from Haywood, from Colin Bruns and Peter Pavlovich, who have just come in themselves, Mitch Nahan and Gary Watson. So keep a close eye on these two up the front. They are the closest battle on track at the moment. Sort of a fight in the pits between Pavlovich, Bruns and Stevens, but Daniel Stevens gets away with a 17.5 second stop number 2. Meanwhile, Colin Bruns only 10-second stop, so that's basically either tyres only or tyres and a tiny bit of fuel. Pavlovich 16 seconds. He's paid back some of the debt that he had from stop number 1. And looks like a bit of lap traffic might soon make itself known to our leaders too.
Yeah, certainly will. Now this is going to really spice things up a little bit if they can. If the lap traffic plays a part in this one, no doubt Brownlee will want to make his way back up as Gilbert now comes into the pit lane to serve his second pit stop. We'll see where this one brings him out as our leaders come down to the bottom part of the circuit to just finish off the lap. We'll see if Gilbert can make this one work as Matt Hayward now slides it through the chicane section on the entry into the lane. And we'll see what Gilbert is going to do here. They did have a short stop before, and it'll be a slightly longer stop for them now to try and run towards the end. So so Dylan Walker and Lockhart Brownlee have cleared out, and Aaron Gilbert now rejoins the track to see if he can salvage much from this. He is leading the 2014 cars, but I don't know if he's going to have the pace now to catch up to Dylan Walker and Lockhart Brownlee. They are quite a way ahead.
Well, that's all assuming that Brownlee and Walker are going to stay out of each other's hair and not come together like they did a couple of laps ago. If that happens a couple more times, Gilbert might still have a chance. Let's wait and see on that front. But 9 laps to go now for our leaders as Billy Rowley has overcome Daniel Stevens in the second pit cycle, but Stevens is already on the attack. He's got fresh tyres on board that car, and he is looking to grab a couple of places back, looking for a top 5 in the 2014 class. And for the moment, taking advantage of that, hit the curb, smooth out on the throttle, try your best to balance the throttle, short shift a little bit, maybe catch a little bit of the grass on the way out. It's such a challenging sequence, turns 3 and 4. Motegi looks like such a simple circuit from the air, looking at a track map. Once you get down on the ground, it's an entirely different beast.
It certainly is. I mean, it's a fun track. Like, I love tracks like this. You know, these real out of it circuits. You know, people can say, oh, their favorite track is, say, Spa or Nürburgring or anything like that. But to me, it's tracks like these that really stand out for me. And these are the kind of tracks that I enjoy, with the multitude of different corners that it has, fast corners, slow corners. And it's just tracks like these that I enjoy racing. And I mean, it's certainly proven to be a great V8 track here tonight for the V8s, for the V8SCOPS supports. Be interested to see how it goes on Sunday for V8SCOPS proper. You can see now Dan Stevens closing in on Billy Rowley. You're right, he really wants that top 5 finish, and he's going to look for it no matter what. Loving the onboard here.
Oh,
Billy Rowley gets it a bit loose. Dan Stevens gets it a bit loose, but he gets past. He makes him stick. Well done to both of those guys. Billy Rowley, Billy Rowley, you need to maybe go back and change your overalls, mate. That was big.
Did someone say freebie? Daniel Stevens will be very grateful for that one. Barely had to do any work at all. What a view he had of that, and well done to Rowley for saving it as well. He is hoping that he'll at least be able to keep the pace up and maybe give Stevens a bit of a fight to the end. But only 1 lap's difference between these two cars on tyres. And, well, we are going to have another view of that for sure. It all started when Rowley went a bit too far beyond the curb. You have to run over those curbs to widen the entry into the corner, but you catch it, and that's what happens. But fortunately for Rowley, he actually kept it on the track the whole way through that slide.
Yeah, that was brilliantly done. Don't know how he would have kept that one in. Knowing my luck, I would have probably been spearing off into the next town over. But Yeah, absolutely good on Billy Rowley to keep it on the track and not fully rotate the car. He's had a bit of a tough one this round out. So, yeah, but unfortunately for Billy Rowley, we'll see if he can maybe salvage something that he's still right behind Dan Stevens. So it's still pretty close. Looking here at this gap here, 1.3 seconds. Dylan Walker to Lockhart Brownlee. That gap has just opened up. Lockhart has not found an answer to Dylan's pace. And I think we are looking at our race winner for this one. I'm not calling it early, but I'm just saying that Walker seems to have found some new pace in this one.
Yeah, it looks like he's very strong when you start getting to the sort of mid-phase of the stint. Pulling over is, I believe that's Taylor, who has had an absolutely horrid race. It's been a lot of bad luck for him for his first race in a while. There's Lipsky off, and it looks like that's going to give the position back to Gary Watson. Watson had just come out of pit lane and lost position to Martin Lipsky, but a bit of a mistake there for Martin is going to give 9th in the 2014 class back. And oh my God, what? Hello, how did they come together? We missed a few frames there. Lockhart Brownlee has spun around. Dylan Walker back into the lead. What?
Well, that is just, let's have a look at the replay here. Dylan Walker now, what happened here? You see Lipsky in the background there. Let's have a look. Let's see what could have gone wrong here. My guess is Dylan's run wide. Brownlee's just found some pace.
Yeah, what? Okay. Oh. Walker may have had a slowdown, or potentially he might have made the decision to redress the incident earlier. Remember when they both went off track
Yes.
at the S's, and Walker cut right across the runoff area. Brownlee focused on getting back on the track. Walker may have been told that that could constitute gaining an unfair advantage, and he gave the position back, but immediately they made contact again, and he had to redress again. It'll be interesting to hear the story from these guys. For the moment, Brownlee has found his way back into the lead, and with only 6 laps to go, this race is far from over.
Yeah, certainly is. We had a look at what we're looking at the replay there, Reese. At the bottom right of the screen, we saw in the live pictures, Dylan Walker slowed down to give Brownlee the position back, let him catch back up. I don't think he wants to concede a penalty. Brownlee and Walker have been getting into it this entire race. Now they've got 2 lap cars ahead of them in Gary Watson and Wayne Taylor. This is far from over with 6 to go. Oh, jeez. How close do you want to? Gary gets out of the way. He doesn't want to borrow this. These two, the gloves have come off. 6 to go. Who's your money on? Play the roulette. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I do have a lottery ticket that I need to check after this broadcast is over. Maybe these guys can help me out with that. Oh my Lord, they are pushing as hard as they possibly can here. Who gets the better exit? It looks like, I mean, I could just see the squat from Dylan Walker's car. Finds a move to the outside here through the hairpin. He might have to focus on a late apex. Yeah, he's done it. He is focused on that late apex, but it hasn't quite given him the run he needs over Brownlee in the short term. Picks up some slipstream, might be able to send one up the inside, pokes the nose out, and, well, he'll try and unsettle Lockhart Brownlee, who has had incidents at this corner before. And this has all helped Aaron Gilbert once again. The 2 Commodores up the front have not stayed out of each other's hair, and our 2014 championship leader is saying, all right, this is my chance once again.
Reese, I'll take a bit of tomato sauce with what you said earlier. I thought Aaron was out of this one. You said that if Lockhart and Dylan get into it again, Aaron's going to come back for it. So I'll eat that with humility. Jeez, this is just turned it on its head. This is amazing stuff here. This is the most fun I've had in V8SCOPS calling it this year. My debut season of calling V8SCOPS racing, or V8SCOPS supports racing. And this is absolute fun to watch. This is brilliant stuff. Walker is still trying to get up to Brownlee. Bit of a squiggle on. And you can see that the battle is still going. And play the Jaws music, everyone. Eric Gilbert is looking for a move.
And so is Dylan Walker. Managed to nail the apex of the hairpin there, unlike Lockhart Brownlee. And this is such a curious part of the circuit for these two. You know, these cars don't deal well with high-speed corners like this. You see how they roll around and struggle to put the rubber down to the road. They are both struggling to keep the maximum pace up. Walker maybe attempting an over-under there on Lockhart Brownlee. Oh, there's not much opportunity, though. Going to be 4 laps to go when they cross the line next. Walker is going deeper in every single braking zone, and if you look and see just behind the Commodore, there's Aaron Gilbert.
Oh, Aaron is grinding his teeth. He wants this to continue so he can get up here and get past them. Look at Dylan Walker here, nice and close onto Lockhart Brownlee. Lockhart needs to remain calm. He's had issues around this back end of the circuit here. We know that Lockhart is really wanting to push it. Dylan wants to push it. This is the fight for a championship. This isn't just a standard race. This is a fight for a championship for certain. And you can see now, look how close he is. You can't even put a piece of paper in between them. This is mighty, mighty close. Look at Dylan Walker here. He's shadowing Lockhart Brownlee at every move, every corner. Can he match the pace here and see if he can get a move done? And look at this, as these two are squabbling, Aaron Gilbert, he's getting closer, he's getting closer. It's going to become a 3-car battle very shortly.
Aaron Gilbert took about 7 to 8 tenths of a second out of these two on the previous lap, as you can see down the bottom right.
That's good.
Yeah, man, he's almost right on the back of them now. It looks like Brownlee is obviously the one who's not quite able to get the maximum pace out of the car. Dylan Walker has been the faster of the two all day, and will need to... Oh, that's a big slide for Brownlee. This could open up the opportunity. No room to the inside, though. Dylan Walker's going to have to wait again, and Brownlee's wide once more. Slides. There goes Dylan Walker, and now Lockhart Brownlee has Aaron Gilbert in his mirrors. Aaron's looking for a move there. He almost went for the move, but Brownlee parked it on the racing line, and there's contact on the way out of the hairpin. They are ripping and tearing through these rear tires. I'm surprised they haven't had a blowout yet.
Oh my word, this is just, oh man, this is close. I think we might have to get 911 on standby. Oh man, my heart is racing so badly here. This is some brilliant racing here that we can see now for this one race here tonight for V8s. And Lockhart Brownlee now down into second. This is some brilliant racing here. Can we keep... can I start a position to keep Motegi on the calendar for the rest, for like the next 10 years? This is awesome stuff, Reese. This is amazing.
Yeah, well, Dylan Walker's back in the lead once again, and 3 laps to go now. Gilbert searching for an opportunity, but the 2019 cars are mighty quick around here. Now Walker goes wide, deep in turn 3, picks up a bit of the gravel. This is a battle of who can make the least mistakes. Brownlee's looking for the inside, but Walker covers it, and there's the door that opens to the outside of the entry to the hairpin. And who gets the straighter exit? It looks like both of them get pretty equal exits. And Aaron Gilbert, all he can do is look on here and look for an opportunity. I get the feeling these two are so involved with each other that they've almost forgotten about Aaron for the moment.
Yeah, I think Aaron's there to remind them now. He's like, hey, listen, I'm here too, guys. Don't squabble too much. I'm here too. And look at how close this battle is. Look at Brownlee. He has to late on the brakes. That's going to leave the door open for Gilbert. And it's going to be a drag race. Look at Walker now. He's scooted away. The gap has opened up now. Lockhart Brownlee and Aaron Gilbert now. So Aaron's now in this fight. Let's see if Lockhart, he parks it on the inside. Stops Aaron Gilbert from getting through. Let's see what run this does for Gilbert now, coming down to the downhill section. 3 laps to go. So not much time left. Look at Gilbert here now. Pulls it in. And not going to go for it. Oh, man. Jeez. Whew. Okay,
this is some top
breather.
class racing. I'm really enjoying this.
This is brilliant stuff here, Reese. This is absolutely brilliant stuff. Loving it here tonight. We're going to cross the line one more time with 2 to go. The penultimate lap in this 32-lap affair around the Motegi racetrack look at this battle for first. Two 2019 cars and a 2014 car. Look at all the dirt and all the gravel that's coming onto the circuit here. That's going to affect the rubber a little bit here as well. And this is just going to keep getting better and better and better. 2 to go. Yeah, Reese, put your money on someone, please, because I can't.
If I had money to put on someone, I don't know if I would. I'm not exactly a betting man. I don't mind a lotto from time to time, but you won't catch me anywhere near the horses or the greyhounds. This is this is insane. I genuinely don't know who to pick. I thought Dylan Walker was pretty much impervious, the more consistent driver in this fight, but even he can make mistakes, as we've seen in the last few laps. This is the complex where things have really started to go off for these two, and well, clouds descending over the circuit as we enter 3:30 p.m. in sim time. The track temperature has dropped ever further to 31 degrees Celsius. I get the feeling that's why we're starting to see a bit more aggression from Lockhart Brownlee. His setup probably suits those cooler track conditions a little better. Does Dylan Walker suit the exit of the hairpin? They both struggle to get the power down. The 2019 cars notoriously are a bit snappier. They're a bit harder to get around a track than the 2014 ones, but here they come then. Barney will be standing at the flag stand with the white flag in hand, and we still aren't sure exactly who is going to win this race. We still have Mitch Nahan only having completed one pit stop in the race thus far, meanwhile, so potentially he's got a disqualification hanging over his head. That was his last opportunity to come into the pits right here, but white flag is out. It's on.
It's going to be on, definitely it is, and you can say it how you mean it. It's on for young and old here. Walker and Brownlee and Gilbert. It's a three-way fight for the lead. Last lap coming up to turn 3 now. Look at Brownlee. He's getting close. Don't want to make too many mistakes like that. See if he can get a good run out of turn 4. It looks like he has. Looks to be good. Gilbert now still looking for a move. Down into 5. Here you go, under the super speedway, and we'll see what this brings now. Look at Brownlee, he's really pushing it. Walker just needs to remain calm and just not make any mistakes.
Oh, he's right on the bumper though, is Brownlee.
Oh, he
right
certainly
from
is.
the S's. Gently does it on your way out there. Brownlee is sliding the car. He dives over to the racing line. Almost thought about a move up the inside of Walker. Gilbert is right there as well. Here they come to the hairpin. This is one of the most crucial acceleration zones of the lap. Gilbert almost thought about going up the inside there. I think Walker might have the gap he needs to defend, but he needs to make sure to nail these last couple of corners. Brownlee, you can't see it from that angle, but I saw on my end he was flashing his lights. He's trying to unsettle Dylan Walker somewhat here. Makes up a lot of time under the brakes, but is it going to be enough for a move at the final couple of corners? I don't think so. Dylan Walker enters the last corner, and that is going to be the most incredible V8SCOPS supports race I've seen in a while. Dylan Walker takes victory from Lockhart Brownlee, and Aaron Gilbert wins in 2014. Man, what a fight. Chad Lewis, a distant third in the 2019 class, and Dylan Gray having a good run too. He's going to get P4 out of that one. Where did Joe Mahoney come from, meanwhile? I had no idea where he was. We weren't even focusing on him. He just got second in the 2014 class.
Oh, that's brilliant stuff there for Joe Mahoney. What a brilliant run for him. He's had a bit of a run of luck lately in this series. But to come home in second place, what a finish for him. Matt Haywood, Henry King, Robbie Bradbury, Dan Stevens, Billy Rowley is now coming through here with Colin Bruns on the tail here for 6th and 7th, and it looks like they're just going to cruise it home to the end. Billy Rowley with a couple of incidents in this one, and it looks like he's just going to cruise it home there for 6th place. So congratulations to Billy Rowley for that 6th, and Colin Bruns for 7th for MFR. What a race, Reese. Can we run that one back, please?
Yeah, I'd very much like to do that. Unfortunately, I have dinner waiting for me, so it might have to wait about half an hour or so. But man, what a fight that was. Mitch Nayan on debut is going to cross the line in 8th in 2014, but unfortunately, Mitch, you haven't taken your second compulsory pit stop, so I don't think that result is going to count. Regardless, driving-wise, a solid debut.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant stuff there. Congratulations to Mitch on a good result, but as you said, not completing the 2 stops will result in a disqualification. We take a look at the results now. Top 10 overall: Dylan Walker, Lockhart Brownie rounding out the 2019 cause. Aaron Gilbert, 2014 first place getter there. Chad Lewis and Dylan Gray followed up with Joe Mahoney, Matt Haywood, Henry King, Robbie Bradbury, and Dan Stevens rounding out the overall top 10. Good little mix of drivers there. We took a look at the rest of the 2019 cars. At Peter Pavlovich rounding out 6th there. So Pacific Esports 4, 5, and 6 in the 2019 cars. In 2014, you can see there Billy Rowley, Colin Bruns, Mitch Nayan, 8th place there, but as you said, possible DQ coming up. Martin Lipsky and Gary Watson rounding out the top 10 in the 2014 spec cars after 32 laps of epic racing.
Yeah, that was truly fantastic. Looking forward to hearing from the drivers. Well, in the interview waiting room, we do have Walker and Brownlee, so let's have a chat to Dylan Walker first. Well, you ended up losing pole position in the final moments of qualifying, but I think that just set the stage for a titanic battle with Lockie.
Yeah, bottled the final lap. Didn't have the pace at the end of the session. Unfortunately, gave him a little bit of a tow as well, which wasn't ideal. But yeah, then it was obviously quite a messy race. I was just talking to him in the green room before, and yeah, we both agreed it was probably a little bit far, but we're not salty about it, which is the main thing.
Yeah, good to hear. Can you explain to us exactly what happened in that sort of coming together in the S's, the second one? Because we noticed that you two had the coming together into the S earlier on in the race, where you both ended up taking to the grass, and then a few laps later on, you ran wide at the right hander there. Was that a mistake from you, or was it something else?
So I haven't watched it back, so I can't comment too much. But from in the car, the first collision that we had felt like he just used my brakes a little bit and ran me off the track, and I was then told to redress that position,
Right.
which I haven't seen it back, so I'm not going to comment too much. But from in the car, I didn't really agree with it, so I let him back through the S's there. And then, yeah, I don't know what happened. He cleared me and I tried to move over and I just hooked his left rear. So obviously not intentional. In no way was I trying to make contact there while I was redressing. But then obviously had to redress it for a second time. But yeah, it was all caused by that initial redress for the contact at the S's, which again, I haven't watched yet.
Well, it may have felt messy from your perspective, but certainly provided some great entertainment. And it does mean that you can gain yourself a bit of extra breathing room in the championship fight. Lockhart has had a great turn of form recently, and he's been catching up to you in that lead. So entering the last couple of rounds, it's going to be an interesting fight.
Yeah, his pace is always really quick. He's always one to watch in these Gen 2 cars. So, look, we've always been pretty close. I pushed him all the way at Okayama, which was pretty good. And at the bend, which wasn't broadcast, I managed to pip him just on strategy. But yeah, credit to him. Obviously, he's got quite a bit of pace. So it should shape up to be quite a good battle for the championship. Hopefully, the next few races don't have as many contact and zero X's.
Yes, well, you're going to be supporting the Enduro Cup next round, being Phillip Island, a Super 60/90 format. So that'll be an interesting one for sure. We want to thank you very much for joining us, Dylan. Is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, thanks to all of you guys who put it on in the broadcast booth and in race control as well. Unfortunately, we heard some sad news about Dan Yemen's grandfather passing away. So my condolences go out to Dan and his family with that. And yeah, shout out to Jack Vlahovic as well for some help with this round.
Yeah, indeed. We echo the sentiments about Dan Yeaman, our series administrator, losing his grandfather. But thank you very much for joining us once again, Dylan. We'll see you at Phillip Island.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Well, that's Dylan Walker, and here is Lockhart Brownlee, who finished second in that spectacular race. Brandon stood by with him.
Yeah, Lockhart. Look, what a fantastic race. It wasn't over until that checkered flag came out. I wasn't expecting that. It was brilliant stuff between you and Dylan. You almost gave me and Reese heart attacks up here in the comms box. How was that for you?
It was a good race. Rum's racing. There was a lot of times where, I mean, Dylan, I think it was in the first stint, I had a dive at the end of the back straight and overshot, and Dylan saw it, opened up the wheel, and gave me a bit of room to make my mistake and left it clean. But yeah, there was a few bits of rubs and whatever. I mean, ultimately that incident where I got spun whilst we're trying to redress Dylan, I just had a little chat with Dylan before he jumped up here, and he thought he was clear. I thought I was clear. I could see, usually my guide is that I can see his bumper in my virtual mirror, and I could see it, and then suddenly I'm around, but it happens. Well, it did fry my tires, so that made the last stint a bit interesting, and yeah, once he got by me, I really didn't have much to do. Yeah, like that's why I did all that undercut. I saved fuel in the first stint so I knew I had a little bit of a fuel advantage, and obviously, yeah, jumped him at the stop, but yeah, obviously he had he got there in the end, and I didn't. So yeah.
Yeah, that was certainly one to watch. I mean, that was a race for the ages. I mean, you two went back and forth really well. I mean, the racing was very, very close, and it was very respectful amongst the two of you, even with a little bit of contact here and there. But your battling slowly brought Aaron back into it as well. So it ended up being a three-way fight for the last 3-4 laps. But just another thing though as well, you know, your livery again this week, I don't know what it is, but you come out swinging with these liveries. I'm just blown away by the amount of work you put into them. Do you think that this is sort of helping you out, sort of standing out a little bit now, because now it's just more liveries week after week, and you've got 3 more rounds to go? Are we expecting 3 separate liveries for each one?
That is the plan. This one was a bit of a rush job. I didn't realize SCOPS was this weekend. I thought it was an X, so I had to rush it out tonight after work. But anyway, it is what it is. I'll also get your one done, but
No, it's all good. It's all good.
they'll get done at some point. It's been a bit busy. But yeah, no, there's the plan to have a new livery every round. But
No, that's
yeah, no, it was the race that I guess. Yeah.
No, well, look, it was a close one for sure. I mean, myself and Reese, we were having so much fun here in the comms box. Is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go off for the night?
Yeah, I want to thank all the people at SimSpeed for putting on the broadcast. Obviously, everyone at SCOPS for putting on the event. Everyone for showing up to make the event possible as well. Because, yeah, an empty grid would not be fun. And obviously, Connor Nixon for providing me the set, and everyone at the team, and the sponsors that go along with it. So Revolution Race Gear, Hybrid Tune, Encozy Engineering, Demon Tweaks, and yeah, obviously CN Doc Shop for providing the setup as well. So yeah,
Absolutely awesome stuff, Lockhart. Well, we'll let you go for now, mate. Congratulations on the second place, and we're hoping to see you back out for the next one at Phillip Island.
yeah. See you then, guys.
Cheers.
Well, that's going to round out the 2019 class. What about 2014? Aaron Gilbert coming home 3rd overall and winning in 2014 once again. But Aaron, you almost had a chance at overall victory there. It seems like Lockhart and Dylan couldn't keep out of each other's hair.
Yeah, they had a really good race, and realistically, I didn't really have any part in their battle because I wasn't really fighting them for win. Well, I could have went for overall, but I didn't really want to in the end. But I just made life hard for them. Just twice their battle a little bit. Hopefully, it looked good on the broadcast as well. So that's the goal.
Yep, certainly is. Regardless, a nice and smooth race from you, and it's something that I think you've become used to in the sort of most recent rounds of this championship. Your championship lead is continuing to grow, and we're coming up to the Enduro Cup support rounds. We are racing, of course, at Phillip Island, Mount Panorama, and Sandown to finish off the season. The Super 60-90 format, which we haven't seen since Manicourt, it's going to be an interesting one for sure. Actually, Hockenheim Ring, we had the same format as well, and you were pretty successful there. But do you think that the 2014 cars will have the advantage over the 2019s at Phillip Island?
It's hard to say. I think 19 cars got heaps better aero, and that's a pretty aero dependent track. But I think we'll give it a good stab at trying to be at the front again. I don't know, like 14 cars I've never been that good in the 14 car at Phillip Island. It's always been a bit average for me, but hopefully we can dial the thing up and be a bit closer to the 19 car and maybe go for outright win. We'll see. But yeah, the reverse grid just throws another curveball in there for everybody. Gives some others a chance to be at the front for the race too. So it's going to be exciting racing, hopefully. So looking forward to it.
As are we, Aaron. Anyone you want to thank before we let you go celebrate your victory?
Just thank the HR team and all the guys, and Jinx Shifters, our big main sponsor for many years now, and all the other little sponsors that we got on around the car. It's all muchly appreciated.
All right. Thanks for joining us, Aaron. See you next round.
Cheers.
Well, that's going to round off driver interviews, and we can look forward to Phillip Island, of course, Brandon. That'll be on the 26th of September. Classic Australian circuit in classic Australian cars. It's going to be a fun time, and we're going to have the same two-race format that we saw at Manicourt and Hockenheim Ring, which always provides excitement.
Oh, it certainly is. I'm looking forward to it. Phillip Island, one of the all-time great Australian racetracks. I cannot wait for that one. Friday, the 26th of September, I've got it locked in.
As have I. Well, actually, I might not. My high school friend's wedding is that day, so potentially I might have to take my leave for that one. But we'll sort that out when the time comes. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching, and we hope to see you again at Phillip Island, and especially still here at Motegi on Sunday, because we have got V8SCOPS proper racing here on Sunday evening. That's going to be going live at about 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, so be there or be square. Live here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Kick. I've been Reese Gardner, Brandon Stuck alongside me in the comms box, and Jake Kennedy behind the scenes on SimSpeed TV. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on Sunday.